Today we're going to measure Ian's hip mobility using the WFI straight leg raise. So Ian, why don't you lay back for me? So basically what's involved with this is just Ian raising that right leg, okay? There's a few things Ian has to remember in order to perform this properly. He has to remember to make sure both feet, the toes are pointed towards the ceiling. You want the opposite leg in contact with the ground. So what I've done here is I've placed a 2x4 under the back of Ian's knees so that he can make sure he maintains contact with that opposite leg on that 2x4. The other thing he wants to remember is make sure he keeps a neutral spine, again, in contact with the ground. I'm going to be using a goniometer to take this measurement. The goniometer is going to be placed at the greater trochanter. The greater trochanter is located at the bony part of the hip, just at the top of the femur. So what I'm going to do is take the goniometer, find that greater trochanter, place the goniometer on the greater trochanter, making sure that the bottom of the rule, the fixed part of the rule, is parallel to the ground. What I'm going to ask Ian to do, remembering to keep the toes pointed towards the ceiling, opposite knee, the back of the opposite knee in contact with the 2x4, and the spine neutral. He's going to slowly raise that thigh as I move the goniometer in relation to the center of his thigh. And Ian has a score of 75 degrees. An alternative to using the goniometer is using a dowel. What we're going to do is, using 3 reference points on Ian's body, we will be able to give Ian a score of 1 to 4 on hip mobility. So the first location would be right at the knee. So again, reminding Ian to make sure he maintains contact with the 2x4 with the back of the left knee, toes pointed up, and neutral spine, we're going to ask Ian to slowly raise his leg. If Ian is unable to cross his ankle past the dowel, he would get a score of 1. If he's able to go past the dowel, we know he has a score of at least 2, at which point we're going to move to our second position. The second position is in the middle of the thigh. The way we locate the middle of the thigh is we're going to take the midpoint between the knee and the ASIS. The ASIS is located right at the top of the hip. So we're going to take a midpoint between the knee and the ASIS, and that's going to be our reference point for position number 2 for the dowel. So now, reminding Ian, keep the toes up, left knee, back of the knee in contact with the 2x4, neutral spine. We're going to ask him to slowly raise that leg again. If Ian's ankle were able to cross this dowel, we would know he would have a score of at least 3. So at which point we would go to the third location, located ASIS, and ask Ian to raise the leg again. Now, if Ian's ankle were able to cross the thigh, he would get a score of 4.